How's it going, everyone? Hope you're all keeping well. Today we are out in the Ford Mustang GT3 in the Regional Tour America Series at Sebring. Didn't do a whole lot of practice before this one, but just wanted to jump in and do a race during this week or whatever day it was. Managed to put P4 on the grid, surrounded by a lot of Mercedes. I think the other cars in the top 7 or 8 are all Mercedes, so that's definitely the one to be in for this race. But we're going to see what I can do in the Mustang. Coming around Sunset Bend then to come to the green flag, and P3 or P2 who's just ahead of me, really far back from the start, and leaves a huge gap onto the front straight. We make a bit of contact with the car that was in 5th, as we were trying to avoid the car who had a terrible start. Managed to get past him, managed to not take ourselves out before we even crossed the line, and already up a place into P3. Car ahead made a little bit of a mistake there on the exit of turn 1, but weren't close enough to take advantage of that, and now just going to try and settle in for the opening lap or two, make sure the tyres come up to temperature before we start to push too much. For this one, car in first place, put it on pole, was a good over half a second quicker than the rest of us. Everyone else in the top 5 or 6 was fairly close, but Tyler there in P1 is already nearly 2 seconds ahead of me. Don't think we're going to be able to do a whole lot to stick with him in this one, and really just have to ignore him and see if we can fight for second place. Through turn 10 on the exit, we get a bit of a snap of oversteer there, as the tyre's still not fully up to temperature, and then through the next left-hander the car just kept wanting to get away from me, not enough grip, and then the tyres spiking in temperature a little bit on the rear. Just had to take it nice and easy, means we dropped back a bit from second place, but luckily we didn't come under too much pressure from the car behind and managed to hold on to P3 on this opening lap. Heading into the Le Mans section then, before we go onto the back straight, had a little bit of understeer, meant the car behind was able to catch up a bit, but we got a good exit onto the back straight, and we're not going to come under any pressure heading into Sunset Bend for the first time. So far so good in this one, up one place already into a podium, and felt pretty good, to be honest. As I mentioned already, P1 is stretching his legs getting away from us, but we're able to keep with Christian in the car ahead, and hopefully we can do that for the rest of this race and get ahead for the end. Heading through turn 1, see Sean at the steering wheel there a bit. Very tricky corner, a lot of bumps there, and especially this early in the race. The tyres still not fully up to their optimal temperature, so still a little bit down on grip. And that is something I do like about Sebring. It's definitely not my favourite track, mainly because I don't really race it too much, but a lot of bumps, very little if any runoff at most of the corners, and it's just a real driver's chance, especially in these types of cars where you have to try and wrestle them around a bit too, especially in the opening couple of laps when the tyres aren't fully up to temperature. It takes 2 or 3 laps to get fully confident in them, and before you can properly push the way you would like. Through turn 10 then, we made a mistake here on the previous lap, where we lost a bit of traction. Luckily don't make the similar mistake on this occasion, but through the next left-hander we do make a big mistake, go a bit wide and try to get on the throttle way too early for the speed I was carrying through the line I had, and luckily managed to save it, just lost the 1 position. The car behind is looking up the inside into the Le Mans section of the track, but we managed to hold on to that position, and heading on to the back straight there was very cautious, as after that slide I didn't really know how much grip I actually had, what condition the tyres were in, and just wanted to play it safe to get a good exit. Into Sunset then, the car behind did throw his nose up a bit the inside, but I knew he was way too far back to actually go for a move, so didn't really compromise my line or anything, or my thinking into that one. and we hold on to that position. Heading into turn 1 though, on lap 3 we get another big slide, full opposite lock through the first corner. We managed to save it somehow. I think that was more luck than driver skill there, as we were fully sideways, fully turning right into the left-hander. We lost 6 places there, I think, down into P10 now. And yeah, don't know if that was just carrying too much speed in there just generally, or if the tyres were still a bit overheated from that previous mistake, but either way we've lost a lot of time, a lot of positions there, and tyres definitely aren't in a good spot now, so for the next couple of corners have to take it pretty easy until they get back into a good working temperature. Just skipping forward a bit now, later on lap 3 heading into the final corner, you can see up ahead a lot of cars battling, and I was still taking it a bit easy at this stage, just making sure the tyres were okay, so not able to take any advantage of that for myself at the moment. But all this fighting does mean that the cars are staying nice and close to me as into turn 1. It looked like they were there to go 3 wide there. A very wide corner going in, you can go 3, 4, 5 wide, but on the exit, as you can see, narrows up a lot, and definitely not able to do that. But yeah, all this fighting, able to stay nice and close and in prime position to try and make a few moves here on the couple of cars up ahead. Last couple of corners we set it up to try and get a good exit onto this long right-hander, which we do, and we get very close to the BMW just in front. He does go defensive, so not able to try and go for an overtake there. He goes for a move though on the other BMW, and they both get bad exits. I have a little look there on the outside, but I knew that that gap was going to close. It wasn't going to be somewhere where we were going to be able to go 3 wide, so unfortunately had to back out of that one and not able to make up any positions just yet. But now you can see the 2 cars up ahead, there's another one just ahead of those, and then a little bit further up the road is the 4th car that was in this train. So this fighting is allowing him to get away from this group a little bit, so I feel like I am faster than this group of cars. I just need to try and get past and see if I can chase after the other cars up ahead. Into Le Mans we get very close there, probably carrying in a little bit too much speed, and does compromise my line a little bit, and we're not able to get a good enough exit onto the back straight to get past into sunset. But yeah, it has been a little while since my last video. For those of you who watch my RTA League Racing videos, which if you don't, you should definitely check out at least the last season where we were fighting for a chance to win a real life drive in Mondello Park in a Formula V. Some very close, very hard, very fair, intense racing throughout that season, so definitely check those videos out. I'll leave a link to the playlist of all my RTA videos down in the description. But the season that is currently happening in the Porsche Cup cars, which you should definitely be looking at over on Gantry TV. Again, I'll leave a link to that channel down in the description. But I was supposed to be travelling for about half of the season, so I didn't sign up. Then those travel plans had to be cancelled because our flights were cancelled, not being able to get our connecting flight through the Middle East. And then by that time the sign-ups had closed, all the spaces were filled, and had to take a break for this season, which I was going to anyway. But when it turned out that I could have raced in the championship, not being able to then is a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is, and I'm looking forward to getting back to racing in RTA in the next season, where we will be racing in the Indy Lights cars. So if you're watching this and you're not part of RTA and that sounds like something you would like to be involved with, leave a comment down below if you want some more information, and if you just want to join, I'll leave a link to the RTA Discord down in the description. Just join there, and if you have any questions, just throw them into one of the chats and somebody will be more than happy to help you out. But yeah, definitely looking forward to getting back to doing some regular competitive racing and hopefully get back to making some consistent videos, because as much as racing in these official races is fun and you can't make videos out of them, it's very hit and miss on whether you'll get a good race and if I'll actually be able to do few races during the week, at least with RTA. I know that every Tuesday night I'm going to be doing a couple of races. They're going to be fun, there's going to be some entertaining battles in it, and we'll make a good video. But back to this one then, not a whole lot happened for the last couple of laps. Just kind of working in a train, or not even working, just driving in a train here, not really able to get close enough to try and make a move on Matthew, who is in the black BMW just ahead, as I think we're both kind of being held up by the Red Bull Mercedes Max Verstappen livery just ahead of him. You can see he's not taking the greatest lines around a couple of these corners, and definitely holding us up. And I feel like myself and Matthew, if we could get past him, we could definitely catch up on the cars up ahead. Into the hairpin, get very close to the back of the BMW, but not close enough to make a move around the outside, and not able to get a good enough exit to challenge into the next turn. Skipping ahead now from lap 6 to around the same position on the track on lap 7. Into the hairpin once again. Not as close to the cars ahead this time, but they're closer to each other. And I think there was a bit of contact there between the BMW and the Mercedes. Matthew there in the Beamer apologising to Bradley in the Merc. So I think there was a bit of contact, and that's allowed me to get a good run into this right-hander. We try and go around the outside. Still side by side through the double left. Not flat out for me because I wasn't sure how close the car was beside me. Still side by side into the next right-hander, and I didn't really want to go side by side through there and get shoved off into the grass, so decided to back out, try and go for a bit of a switchback, which didn't really work, but we are very close heading into the last couple of corners on the lap. Trying to stay nice and close, going a bit wide through the first corner to try and set up a good exit onto the back straight, which don't really do. Matthew gets not a great exit, but still about the same as the one I did. And again, not close enough to make a move heading down into sunset. That little bit of a battle though has meant that we've fallen back a small bit from the Mercedes up ahead, but as you can see through the final corner we've already caught back up, and I was hoping if we were after falling out of the slipstream range, maybe it would help me get a move on the BMW, but yeah, we've caught back up once again and back into the same position we were a lap ago in this little bit of a train. One thing I was not doing great throughout this race was this corner we're in now. It just wasn't taking the greatest line, and it meant I was a bit too far back through this left-hander heading onto the big bend in both straight. On this occasion though, we do get a good run and we're very close to Matthew heading into the hairpin. I pulled to the right hand side, not really to go for a move, more so just so I could spot a braking point, and I wasn't going for a move there, as I said, but it nearly turned into it. I had to brake a lot more than I would have normally, also with being on the inside line, because I felt if I'd gone alongside there I would have caused a collision. In hindsight, it turned out I probably could have got away with sending it down the inside there and got the move done, but hindsight is 2020, and when my plan wasn't to dive it down the inside, it's kind of hard to just change the plan to sending it there and going for the move. Luckily all worked out okay, still in a good position and still in this race. Through the Le Mans section then of turn 15 and 16, really focusing on trying to get a good run down the Ulmen straight. As we exit onto that straight, you can see the Red Bull Mercedes doesn't get a good run, and now him and the BMW are side by side. At this point my plan was to follow the Beamer on the inside, expecting the Mercedes to go wide, but as you can see he starts blinking, so I didn't really want to follow a car that was blinking. Then the Mercedes goes wide, probably distracted by the blinking BMW as well, so the opportunity presented itself to go down the inside, which we do, and we get ahead, just ahead on the outside, heading into turn 1 on lap 9. And I wasn't too sure how the outside was going to work there, but he backed out pretty early and we get that move cemented. So After a good number of laps of trying, then within a couple of cars, myself and Matthew managed to get past. And straight away I make a mistake just trying to push too much to then try and challenge Matthew, run a bit wide and don't get a great exit heading down into the hairpin. I saw the Red Bull had a good run, so covered the inside line into the hairpin. Nothing he can really do around the outside there, and we hold on to that place. And now just trying to catch back up to Matthew, who has pulled a little bit of a gap with that mistake and a bit of fight. Just a couple of corners later then we move up another position, a car off into the barriers, and that was actually the car that was at the front of the 4-car train when I first made my mistake at turn 1, so he was after pulling a good bit of a gap to the rest of us and then just seemed to lose it like I nearly did earlier on in this race. Speaking of losing it, carrying a bit too much speed heading into Le Mans there, and rather than, well, I don't think I really had a choice of trying to slow it down enough to make the corner. Had to just cut across the runoff, and do have a slowdown now, but as you can see into the sunset, it's already starting to come down, and coming around sunset to start the white flag final lap. We only have a tenth of a second of that slowdown left, so just a little bit of a lift there on the pitch straight. We have that all taken care of without losing too much time before we head into the first turn. So with a good bit of a gap to the car ahead, I wasn't really too focused on trying to catch him. I didn't really think I was going to be able to, so my focus turned on not really defence but just driving cleanly and maintaining position. You saw there Bradley in the Red Bull had a look down the inside of one of the previous corners. Wasn't too worried about it, he was a bit too far back to go for a move as he is into the hairpin. Doesn't stop him from making a bit of a lunge and a bit of 0x contact with my rear bumper. I didn't really feel, but must have been some sort of contact there. Yeah, he was pretty aggressive about trying to make moves when he was behind. Again, into this right-hander, he had taken a bit of a more inside line trying to put me off, but I was pretty confident in my car position and the gap I had that he wasn't going to be able to get past. But yeah, nice to be back making another video. Like I mentioned, it's hard to make them for these official races, but if I have a good one I'll definitely make a video of them. This season I wasn't really planning on racing too much GT3s. I was more so going to focus on driving the updated GTE cars, just since they're newly updated. The calendar is pretty good. Those races are 45 minutes, an hour long. It can be hard to get one of those races in the evening with other things going on as well, so these 20-minute GT3 races are nice to do in the evening as well. But for this one we're going to come across the line, finish in P8. Considering I started in 4th, was in 3rd at the end of lap 1. It's a little bit disappointing, but nobody else, only myself, to blame for those mistakes. And all in all, it was a fun race trying to fight for those positions in the back end of the top 10. But that is it for this one. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of my videos. But until the next one, thanks for watching.